Hello students, welcome back in this video session of pharmaceutical organic chemistry. Now in today's video session we will be discussing about the structural isomerism in organic compounds. So in the previous parts we have already covered the IUPAC naming system for various types of organic compounds. Now in today's session we will be considering the important topic, that is structural isomerism in organic compounds. So let's get started. So you are already aware what are called as isomers. So this name implies iso means similar and mer, M-E-R, that refers to the unit. Okay, so M-E-R refers to the unit and iso refers to the same or similar. So what are the isomers? Isomers we can define, these are the compounds having same molecular formula but different structures. Okay, so these are the organic compounds which have exactly the same molecular formula and they have different structures. Their atoms are arranged in a different way. So these type of compounds we refer as isomers. So you are already aware with this term isomers. Now we will be discussing to specific the structural isomers. So there are different types of isomers we will see in the coming slides. So this definition clearly says the compounds have the same molecular formula but they differ in their structures. So this excludes any different arrangement which are simply due to the molecule rotating as a whole or rotating about the particular bond. So what does it mean? We will try to understand by taking suitable examples. So this is the structure of the butane. Okay, we refer it as N-butane. Now this N-butane we can also draw in this way. This is CH3, then this is CH2, then this is CH2, and then again CH3. So there are 4 carbon atoms. Okay, so that's why we consider it as a butane and it is connected with a single bond. Okay, so if you count the number of carbon atoms, there are 4 carbon atoms and how many hydrogens? So 3 plus 3 6 and then again 2 plus 2 4, so it will be 10 hydrogens. So the molecular formula of N-butane here is C4H10. So if I am just simply making or rotating this molecule, now let's say, so this is, let's say it is an axis, and around the axis if I rotate this molecule, so by rotating the molecule you cannot have a different structure. The structure remains same, the arrangement of the atom in the structure also remains same. Okay, it doesn't change anything. Okay, so if you, let's say if I write the same N-butane in this way, CH2, and if I'm, let's say if I'm writing in this way, so I changed the bond angles. Okay, but still this is also, this structure is also N-butane and this is also N-butane. If I see the physical properties of this structure or chemical properties of this structure as well as physical and chemical properties of this structure, okay, so whether it is this structure or whether it is this structure, it remains same. So there, these two structures are not referred as the isomers. So what we want to say here, if you take the molecule and if you simply rotate the molecule as a whole or just change the atoms from here and there by simply changing the bond angle, it doesn't change the structure. Okay, so that is referred as the same compound. It is not the isomer. What are isomers? Isomers are the compounds which have same molecular formula but they have different structures. So we can again take an same example of N-butane. Now this N-butane I can also write in a different way. Okay, so how you can write? Let's say I will take 3 carbon atoms in a chain. Okay, so this is CH3, this is CH3, and let's say 1 hydrogen I have attached here and 1 CH3 I have attached here. Okay, now you can count the number of carbons here, again 1 2 3 and 4. So this also have 4 carbon atoms. Then count the hydrogens, 3 plus 3 6 plus 3 9 and plus 1. So this is also having C4H10. So this molecular formula and this molecular formula, the molecular formula of these two structures remain same, okay, but the structural arrangement, the arrangement of the atom in the structure, so this structure is different and this structure is different, okay. So the physical and chemical properties of this N-butane, which are arranged in a particular fashion, is totally different than this structure. So can you name this structure? So this is your parent chain, and at carbon 2 you have a methyl. So you can nomenclate this as 2-methyl propane, 2-methyl propane, because 3 carbon atoms are there, and at carbon 2 we have a methyl. We can also refer this as isobutane. We have already discussed the nomenclature of these alkane compounds. Okay, so I can say N-butane and isobutane or 2-methyl propane, these are the isomers of each other because they have the same molecular formula C4H10, but their arrangement of atoms are different, their structures are different, and because their structures are different, the molecules are totally different. Though they have same molecular formula, but the physical and chemical properties of isobutane are totally different than physical and chemical properties of the N-butane. Okay, so if you talk about the boiling point of N-butane, it is comparatively higher than the boiling point of the isobutane. Okay, so that we need to take into consideration. So these are referred as the isomers. Once again we'll revise what are isomers. Isomers are the compounds which have same molecular formula but they differ in their structural arrangement. There are different types of isomers which are available in the organic chemistry. Now here we should consider examples, okay, for better understanding. So we will see how isomers can be classified. So these isomers you can classify mainly into two categories. So first category is the constitutional, or they are also referred as the structural isomers, okay, and the second broad type of isomer is the stereoisomers. So their arrangement of atom in 3 dimension is different, okay, in the space, okay, or different orientation of atoms in the space. So you can visualize these molecules in 3 dimension, and the arrangement of atom in 3 dimension is totally different. So such type of compounds we refer it as a stereoisomers. Now in your first year syllabus we will be mainly focusing on type 1. In next semester we will be focusing about the stereoisomers. We have a separate chapters about the stereoisomers in detail. So for a while we will be discussing only with respect to the constitutional or the structural isomers. So in constitutional or the structural isomers, as the name implies, the arrangement is different. So different bonding pattern that is mainly observed in the constitutional or structural isomers. So these constitutional or structural isomers can again be subdivided into 5 types, okay. So here the first is chain isomers, second is the position isomer, third is the functional group isomerism or functional group isomers, then fourth is the metamer, or it is also referred as the metamerism, and the fifth one, which is again very important, that is tautomerism, or the compounds which exhibit this phenomena are referred as the tautomers of each other, okay. So we will be discussing in today's session the constitutional isomers, its definition with examples, and subtypes of constitutional or structural isomers with suitable example, okay. So let's see the next slide. First we will now try to understand what are structural or constitutional isomers. So what are constitutional or structural isomers? These are the isomers that differ in the sequence in which atoms are connected to one another. So they can contain different functional groups and or bonding pattern, okay. So there are examples of compounds which have same molecular formula, but they may have different functional groups, they may have different types of branching, they may have different kind of bonding pattern, but their molecular formula is same. Okay, so such type of compounds we refer as the structural or the constitutional isomer. The sequence in which the atoms are connected to one another, it is different. Okay, so I told you there are 5 types of the structural isomer: chain isomer, positional isomer, functional group isomerism, metamerism and tautomerism. So we'll see one by one in detail. The first one is referred as the chain, or this is also referred as the skeletal isomerism. So it is a type of molecular isomerism in which the components of skeleton, usually the carbon skeleton, are distinctly reordered to create the different structure. Okay, so what does it mean? We will take an example. The linkage between the atoms may be straight chain or it may be a branch chain, producing isomers that differ from each other by possessing different carbon skeleton. Okay, now we have already seen one example of this N-butane. Okay, so CH3, CH2, CH2 and CH3. Okay, so this is one type of carbon skeleton. This is the structure of N-butane. Then the same atoms I can arrange in a different way. I can arrange in this way. Okay, so this is CH3, 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 then there is a carbon at the center and this is H. So this we can refer it as 2-methyl propane, or this is referred as isobutane. So you can consider N-butane and isobutane, these are the chain isomers. These are the chain isomers. We can take another example. We can draw the structure of N-pentane. Okay, so we can have, or pentane, how many carbon atoms? 5, and then you can complete the valency of the carbon, CH2 and CH3. So this is the structure of N-pentane. So for N-pentane, can you draw the possible chain isomers? So what are chain isomers? The components of skeleton are distinctly reordered. Okay, so here also it was C4H10 in N-butane as well as isobutane. Now you can see how N-pentane can be arranged in a different way. So I can arrange this in this particular way. Let's say CH3, then this is CH. I will attach one CH3 here, then CH2 and then CH3. Okay, now count the carbon: 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so it is a 4 carbon chain compound, and at carbon 2 we have methyl. So 4 plus 1, it is again 5 carbons, and look at the hydrogens: 3 plus 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So there are 12 hydrogens. Look at in N-pentane, how many carbons? Obviously 5. Then 3 plus 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 3, 11. Okay, so it will be 12. Okay, 3 plus 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Okay, so how you can name this? It is 2-methyl butane. That is the name of this compound. Can you arrange in one more format for this particular compound, N-pentane? Yes, it can be arranged in this way. I can attach one CH3 here, one CH3 here, one CH3 on this side and one more CH3 on this side. Now count the number of carbon atoms. 1 at center and on the periphery there are 4, so it will be 5. Then 3 plus 3, 6 and 6, it will be 12. So this is also C5H12. This is referred as neopentane. Can you find out the IUPAC name for this? We already discussed how we can write the IUPAC name for these compounds. So it is 3 carbon chain compound, that is a parent chain. It is a propane, and at carbon 2 we have 2-methyl. So this will be referred as 2,2 dimethyl dimethyl propane. Okay, so what I can say here, N-pentane, 2-methyl butane and 2,2-dimethyl propane or neopentane, these are the skeleton isomerism, or these are the chain isomers. So in chain isomers, what we find, it is a type of molecular isomerism in which the components of skeleton, usually the carbon skeleton, are distinctly reordered, okay, so that we can get a different structures. So each one of these are isomers of each other on this side. So these are the 3 isomers of each other, and here these are the 2 isomers of each other. Okay, their chemical and physical properties will be totally different. These structures are different, only the similarity is their molecular formula is same. So these are referred as the isomers, and to be specific, these are the chain isomers. We'll see some more examples for the better understanding. Okay, now here we will take the functionality. Let's say I will take the double bond, carbon-carbon double bond. So we refer this as alkene. So how you will name this compound? So obviously the numbering will start with the carbon containing a double bond. So we have to give the lowest possible number. So this will be 2, 3 and 4. So the name of this compound, it will be 1-butene. Okay, so it has the molecular formula carbon 4, and then look at the hydrogen atoms. This will be carbon, this will be CH2, then there is a carbon, this is CH, this is CH2, and this is CH3. So 4 carbons, and how many hydrogens? 3 plus 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, once again you can count 3 plus 2, 5, then there is only 1, right? It is number 2. So 5 plus 1, 6, 7, 8. So it is C4H8. Now you can have the another isomer for this compound. So this compound can also be arranged in this way. There is a double bond. Okay, so we are not changing the functionality, that you should keep in mind. So in chain isomerism, the functionality is not changed, and even its position is also not changed. So here the double bond was present at carbon 1 and 2. So here also it is present at carbon 1 and 2. So I have attached one substituent here. Okay, so this is CH3, then this will be C. Okay, so the carbon valence is completed here, and this will be CH2. So how you can name this? Can you name this compound? This will be 2-methyl 2-methyl-1- it is a propane, and because of the double bond we will write as 2-methyl-1-propene, 2-methyl-1-propene. Okay, so here you can now count the number of carbons. Obviously here there are 4, then count the number of hydrogens, 3 plus 3, 6, and plus 2, it will be 8. So here also it is C4H8, here also it is C4H8. Now here we should, again I am emphasizing, the functionality has not been changed, and even its position in the structure is also not changed. So in 1-butene also it was in between 1 and 2, even in 2-methyl-1-propene also it was in between 1 and 2. Okay, so that we refer it as a chain isomerism. So in chain isomerism, what usually we find, the parent chain is going to change. Okay, the parent chain is going to change in the chain or the skeleton isomerism. We can take another example. Okay, so let's say 1, 2, 3 and 4. So let's say I have attached here the amino group. So where the numbering will start, obviously the carbon atom containing the amino group. So this will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it is a butane, and there is a amine functionality. So can you write the name? So this is butanamine. Okay, 1-butanamine, or simply you can write it as butanamine. Now this butanamine, can you arrange in a different way? So can you write, in other words, the isomer for this butanamine? So chain isomerism, how you can write the chain isomerism? In chain isomerism, you should remember, you should not change the functionality, and even you should not change its position. Okay, so what I can do, I can arrange the structure in this way. This will be NH2, and let's say I have attached one methyl group here. Okay, so this will be 1 carbon 2 and carbon 3. So 1 I have attached here, so this will be CH3. So the name of this compound will be 2-methyl, and this is propane, so it is a propanamine, 2-methyl propanamine. So you can count the number of carbon atoms here, they are 4. Then count the number of hydrogen atoms, there will be CH3, so here there are 3 plus 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here 2, so it will be 11, and there is 1 nitrogen. Here you can count the number of carbon atoms are 4, then count the number of hydrogen atoms, 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, there is 1 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 hydrogens and 1 nitrogen. So C4H11 and N, C4H11 and N. So butanamine and 2-methyl propanamine is the chain isomers of each other. So here you can see the position and the functionality has not been changed. Okay, what has been changed? The carbon skeleton or the parent chain has been changed. Here it was a butane and here it becomes a propane. Okay, so that's why these are referred as the chain or the skeletal isomers. Hope you understood the first type of isomers, first type of structural or constitutional isomers. Now we will see the second type, that is the positional isomerism. So as the name indicates, there is a change in the position. Okay, so it is an isomerism caused by difference in the position of the functional group in the same chain. Okay, in the previous type the functionality was not changed, even their position was also not changed. What has been changed? The skeleton of the carbon, the parent chain was changed. But in this case the chain will not change. What will change? The position of the functional group is going to change. So position isomers differ in the position of some reference atom, group or the bond. Okay, so we will see some examples of these kind of isomers. Now let's say I will attach 5 carbon atoms. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You can also draw with me simultaneously. Now let's say I have attached here the hydroxy group. Okay, now we can complete the valency of the carbon, CH2, CH2, CH2 and CH2. So can you write the name of this structure? It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a pentane and there is a OH group. So it is a alcohol. So alcohol will have the ending of -ol. So I can refer this as pentanol. Okay, this is a pentanol. Now can you draw the position isomer for this pentanol? So in pentanol, what we can do, what the position isomer says, the functionality position is going to change, whereas the parent chain remains same. So what we can do, we can again draw the same 5 carbon chain compound, 3, 4 and 5. Now in this case, if you remember, the numbering will be like this. Okay, now instead of OH group attaching to carbon 1, I can also attach at carbon 2 like this. So I can give the numbering as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then we can complete the valency of the carbon like this. So this is already 3 atoms are attached, so it will be CH and then it will be CH3. So here the name of this compound will be 2-pentanol. Okay, so remember here this is also a pentanol, this is also a pentanol. This is actually 1 pentanol, or simply you can write a pentanol, but in this case it is 2-pentanol. So what has been changed? The functional group which was here at carbon 1, it has changed from carbon 1 to carbon 2. Okay, it has come here. So this is referred as the positional isomer. The position of the functional group has been changed. Similarly, you can also make one more positional isomer of this pentanol, 3, 4 and 5. Instead of carbon 2, you can also attach at carbon 3. Okay, so this will be CH3, this will be CH2, this will be CH, this will be CH2 and this will be CH3. So this will be now 3 pentanol. So what we want to say here, 1 pentanol, 2 pentanol and 3 pentanol, these are the isomers of each other. You can count the number of carbons and hydrogens in all these structures. There are similar number of carbons, hydrogens and oxygen. Okay, but what is changed? The position of the functional group has been changed. The physical and chemical properties of each of these compounds or the structures are totally different. Okay, now we'll see one more example of positional isomer. Now I will draw the structure containing 6 carbon atoms, so 4, 5 and 6. Okay, now let's say I have attached a double bond here. So this becomes alkene, right? Then this will be CH3, this will be CH, this will be CH, then CH2, CH2 and CH3. So how you will number? So we have to give the numbering in a way the double bond will get a least number. So this will be the numbering pattern for this compound. So can you write the name of this compound? It will be 2-hexene. Okay, ENE will be the suffix for the double bond. So this will be 2-hexene. Now I can change the functionality, okay, position. Okay, so here it is at in between 2 and 3. Now I can draw the structure containing the same parent chain. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this is also 6 carbon containing compound. Now let's say I am making a double bond here. Okay, so I have changed the position of the double bond. So this becomes CH3, CH2, CH, CH, CH2 and CH3. Okay, so you can give the numbering in either way. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So in this case the structure name will be 3-hexene. 3-hexene or hex-3-ene will be the name of this compound. So I can say 2-hexene and 3-hexene are the positional isomers of each other because the position of double bond has been changed, though the molecular formula for 2-hexene and 3-hexene remains same. Okay, now this positional isomer is also possible in the aromatic compounds. So position isomerism in aromatic compounds occur when the substituents are positioned on different parts of the benzene or other aromatic rings. Okay, so we will try to understand by taking an example. Okay, so this is a benzene ring and there is a hydroxy group. So this is referred as, what is the name of this compound? This is a structure of phenol. Now if I draw, now in this case you cannot have the positional isomer for phenol. Okay, it will not give a positional isomer. But if I attach one CH3 group, if I attach one CH3 group to the phenol, I will get the positional isomer. Okay, so if you remember the nomenclature, so this position, this carbon and this carbon, this we refer it as the ortho. This carbon and this carbon we refer it as a meta, and this carbon is referred as para. I will write this is ortho, this is meta and this is para. Okay, so if I attach, let's say CH3 here, so what is the name of this compound? This will referred as orthocresol. Okay, this is orthocresol or 2-methyl phenol, that is the name of the compound. It is orthocresol. Now I can have one more structure in which I am changing the position of this methyl. Okay, so from ortho the methyl is attached at meta, so this will become a metacresol. Similarly, I can have one more positional isomer for this compound. I can attach a methyl to the para carbon, so this will be a paracresol. So what I can say, in ortho, meta and para cresol, the molecular formula of these three structures is same. But what is different? The position of the functional group CH3, the methyl group which is attached with respect to the hydroxy group, is at different position. So in this case it is at ortho, in this case it is at meta, in this case it is at para. So I can say these are the three examples. So these are the position isomers of each other. Okay, so hope you understood what is the positional isomerism. Now we'll see the third type of the functional group isomerism. Okay, so this is the third type. As the name indicates, there is something with respect to the functional group. So it occurs when substances have same molecular formula. Okay, that should be must. It is applicable for all. It is common to all the isomers. They should have the same molecular formula, but they have the different functional groups. So in the previous two parts or the types, we have seen the functionality was not changed. Only in positional isomerism, the position or the location of the functional group was changed. In the first, that is the chain isomer, the functionality was not changed and even its position was also not changed. But in the third type, that is the functional group isomerism, we are going to change the functional group. So even though we are changing the functional group from one functionality to the other functionality, the molecular formula still remains the same. So for two molecules to be functional isomers of each other, they must contain the key groups of atoms connected together in a different way. Okay, so we will see how it can be possible. So there are some pairs of functional groups in which we observe the functional group isomerism. For example, we can have aldehydes and ketones. So aldehydes and ketones, in this case the functional group isomerism is possible. If you remember the IUPAC nomenclature of aldehydes and ketones, do you remember what is the general formula for aldehydes and ketones? We can easily write it is R dash C double bond O H. So this is what? This is the general formula for aldehyde. Then what is for ketone? R C double bond O and again R. So this is ketone. Okay, hope you remember this when we have discussed the IUPAC nomenclature. Now what we want to say, if you want to draw the structure of the ketone, you require minimum 3 carbon atoms. Minimum 3 carbon atoms are required to make a ketone. Okay, but in case of aldehyde, even if 2 carbons are there, you can have the aldehyde. Okay, now this is very important. You should know these generalized formula for aldehydes and ketones. Now these two functionalities, using these two functionalities, we can have the functional group isomerism in certain compounds. Okay, for example, now I will draw the structure here. Let's say CH3 dash CH2 dash C double bond O H. Okay, so can you tell me it is aldehyde or ketone? This is aldehyde. Okay, so this group we can consider it as R, then there is this dash, then there is a double bond, and then there is a H. Okay, so it is resembling to this. That means this is an aldehyde. Okay, which aldehyde it is? Can you write? Numbering will start with the carbon of this aldehyde group. This will be 2 and this will be 3. So it is a propane, and because of the aldehyde group we have a suffix as Al. Okay, so it is propanol. The name of this compound is propanol. Now can you convert this same number of atoms? How many carbon atoms are here? 1, 2, 3, 3 carbons. Now count the number of hydrogens. 3 plus 2, 5 and 6. Okay, 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So this is C3H6O. Now by taking this C3H6 and O, can you convert this C3H6O into an ketone? Is it possible? Check. Okay, in both structures we have a keto group. Okay, so keto group is common, C double bond O, the carbonyl carbon. So I can attach here one CH3 on this side and another CH3 on this side. Okay, because it is R C double bond OR. So it requires minimum 3 carbons, out of which one carbon will be of carbonyl carbon or carbonyl group, and other CH3 I can write this. So if you see, this now is resembling to this one. Okay, like this, R C double bond O R. So this is what this is ketone. Now count the number of carbons, 3, count the number of hydrogens, 6, and count the number of oxygen, 1. So propanol having C3H6O, and what is this? This is dimethyl. This is dimethyl ketone. That is a common name. Can you write the IUPAC name for this? This is dimethyl ketone, right? What is IUPAC name? It is ketone. So on will be the suffix here. So it will be 2-propanol. Okay. Again, this is very important structure. This is popularly referred as acetone. Okay, it is an acetone, very important solvent in the organic chemistry. Okay, we will see some of the reactions in which acetone is used as a solvent. Okay, so hope you have understood the functional group isomerism. Okay, so in this dimethyl ketone and propanol, one is aldehyde and other one is ketone. Okay, so this have the aldehydic functionality, this will have a ketone functionality, but they have same molecular formula, but they have different structures. Their structures are different, their properties are different, physical and chemical properties, but they have same molecular formula. Okay, and in this case they have the different functionality, and that's why these are referred as the functional group isomers or functional group isomerism. Okay, now in certain compounds this kind of functional group isomerism is not possible. Okay, so what are these? Methanol, ethanol and benzaldehyde. Okay, methanol का स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? HCHO. ethanol का स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? CH3CHO. Okay, so you can see it is a ethanol. So how many carbons it has? It has 2 carbons. So can you make ketone with the 2 carbons? No, you require minimum 3 carbons, right? So that's why in ethanol it is not possible. Even in methanol it is not possible. Even it is not possible in the benzaldehyde. Okay, so benzene plus CHO. So in this case also this we cannot convert into a ketone. Okay, because there is only one carbon of this aldehyde group and another carbon of the benzene ring. So we cannot convert these 3 groups or the compounds into its functional group isomer, that is the ketones. Okay, so these are the compounds in which it will not show the functional group isomerism, but other aldehydes and ketones, they can be showing or they can be rearranged in the functional group isomeric form. Okay, now next groups, that is alcohols and ethers. So first we have seen aldehydes and ketones which can show the functional group isomerism. Similarly, alcohols and ethers can also show the functional group isomerism. Okay, so if you remember again the nomenclature, what is a alcohol? It is RONH. This is referred as alcohol. And what is ether? Ether is ROR. Okay, this is referred as ether. So these are the generalized formula for alcohol and ether. Okay, now for example, if I write the structure of, let's say CH3-CH2 and then OH. What is this? This is ethanol. Okay, very popular compound in the organic chemistry. It is a ethanol. Now this ethanol contains how many carbons? 2 carbons, hydrogens, 5 hydrogens, sorry 6 hydrogens, 1 hydrogen of this OH, and then oxygen. So it is C2H6O. Now can you arrange these 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen in a ether format? Okay, can you try? So at the center you will have the oxygen, okay, and then how many carbons? 2 carbons. So one carbon I can attach here, another carbon I can attach here, and then hydrogens, 6 hydrogens. Okay, now you can see what it becomes. This is referred as dimethyl ether. That is a common name. Can you write the IUPAC name for this? How you will write IUPAC name? One alkyl group you have to consider as alkoxy. So this will be a methoxy, and then what remains, that is methane. So methoxymethane will be the IUPAC name for this, and dimethyl ether is the common name for this structure. Now in this case, the methanol will not show this kind of functional group isomerism in alcohol. Okay, so methanol, CH3OH. So this you cannot convert into ether. Okay, why you cannot convert? Because there is only one carbon. So for making ether you require at least 2 carbons, ROR. Okay, so one carbon here and one carbon here. So this is not possible in case of methanol. So methanol will not show the functional group isomerism. So these are popular questions you can be questioned in the MCQs, okay, or in the Viva. Alright, so if you understood this functional group isomerism in aldehydes and ketones and alcohols and ethers, then we will see the other category, okay, of functional groups. It is also possible in between carboxylic acids and esters. So recently we have completed this IUPAC naming for carboxylic acid. What is a generalized formula? It is RC=OOH. That is the generalized formula for carboxylic acid, and for ester RC=OO and R. Okay, so this is carboxylic acid and this is ester. Okay, all right, so we will see how this will show the functional group isomerism. Okay, so we'll take an example here. I will draw the structure. You can predict what the name of this compound: CH3, CH2, C=O and OH. Okay, is it a acid or ester? You can see the functionality. This will become R, so this is a carboxylic acid. Okay, count the number of carbon: 1, 2 and 3. So it is a propane and it is a carboxylic acid, have a suffix of oic acid. Okay, so it is a propanoic acid. It is a propanoic acid. So can you convert this propanoic acid into an ester? Okay, first we will see the molecular formula of this. It is C3, then how many hydrogens? 3 plus 2, 5 and 6, H6. Then what remains? Oxygen. There are 2 oxygen, one from this carbonyl carbon and one of this hydroxyl group. Okay, so C3H6O2, can it be written in a ester format? Okay, what is ester? RC=OOR. Okay, so we have to write this one first. Okay, and then we can see what is remaining now. There are 2 carbons remaining and the hydrogens. So I can attach one CH3 here. Now I am left with one more carbon. Okay, 2 carbons are already accommodated, so I can attach one CH3 here. Okay, so whether it is ester, now you can see this is R, this is R, then C=O, and again this will become R. Okay, so we have written the functional group isomer for the propanoic acid. Okay, now name this compound. Okay, we have seen the nomenclature of esters. Okay, so there is a methyl group connected to this RCOOR. Okay, so we can write it is methyl, and what is remaining here, 1 and 2, so it is a ethane and it has a ending or suffix as ATE. So I will write as ethanoate. Okay, OATE is the suffix here, so it is methyl ethanoate will be the correct name for this compound. So in this case also we have 3 carbons, Then count the number of hydrogens, 6 hydrogens and 2 oxygens. Okay, so I can say propanoic acid and methyl ethanoate, these are the functional group isomers of each other. Okay, alright, now we'll see one more example. Yeah, one more example I will give you, and then we'll see the exception. So you can see here CH3 dash C double bond O and then OH. Okay, so this is what, this is 1 and 2, so it is ethane, and because of the carboxylic acid it is oic acid, so this becomes an ethanoic acid. Okay, count the number of carbons 2, count the number of hydrogens 3 plus 1 4, and count the number of oxygen. Because of the acid functionality it has 2 oxygens, so C2H4 and O2. So can you convert this ethanoic acid into its ester? Okay, so again for ester functionality I told you C double bond O we should write. Then what remains, 1 carbon we have already accommodated, then 1 more carbon is left, so I can write CH3 here, and then 1 H can be written here. Now see the valency of the carbon, 1, then 2, 3 and 4. Okay, it is a single bond, so this is correct. So what is the name of this structure? It is a methane, and this is a methyl, so I can write this name as methyl methanoate. Methyl methanoate is the correct name for this particular compound. Okay, now methanoic acid cannot show the functional group isomerism. Okay, methanoic acid will not show the functional group isomerism. Okay, you can see the structure of methanoic acid. Okay, so methanoic acid will be like this, COOH. So in this case, how it is possible, how you can convert this methanoic acid into a ester? It is not possible. So this is an exception, and this can be asked in the examination. Which of the following is not showing functional group isomerism? Okay, so this is a carboxylic acid and ester. So these are the 3 main functionalities. Okay, what functionalities we have seen in functional group isomerism? Which are the couples? First is aldehydes and ketones. Second, we have seen alcohols and ethers, and third we have seen carboxylic acids and esters. So these are giving the functional group isomerism. In compounds functionalities में functional group isomerism possible है. We also discussed some of the exceptions. So these are the main common functionalities which are showing the functional group isomerism. There are some more functionalities like alkene and alkadine. They will also show the functional group isomerism, but at first year B Pharm level only these common functionalities are sufficient to understand the functional group isomerism. Okay, so with this we will proceed for the 4th type of structural or constitutional isomer. It is metamers and metamerism. Okay, so it is a type of structural isomerism in which it has the same functional group, but there is a difference in the alkyl chain at both sides of the functional group. Okay, so it is quite easy to understand. Okay, we have to see the compounds in which it will have the same functional group, but what is changed, the alkyl chain which is attached to the functional group is different. Okay, we'll try to understand with suitable example. So these metamers always belong to same homologous series. Okay, they belong to the same homologous series. Compounds like ethers, ketones, secondary amines, even tertiary amines, they will show the metamerism. Only primary amine it cannot show the metamerism. Okay, so we'll see first the metamers in ethers. Okay, you know what are ethers. Okay, now in ethers, for example, what we have understood, the metamers are the isomers in which we have the same functional group. I will write Fg represent the same functional group, but they differ in the attachment of alkyl chain. Okay, so we'll understand what does it mean. CH3, then let's say CH2, then O, CH2, CH3. Okay, what is this? This is diethyl ether. Diethyl ether. Okay, now can we arrange this particular compound in a different way? Now count the number of carbons, 4 carbons, count the number of hydrogens, 3 plus 2, 5 plus 5, 10, and 1 oxygen. Okay, so this is a molecular formula for diethyl ether. So same thing I can arrange in a different way. So here you can see this alkyl chain and this alkyl chain, they are same. Okay, now here I will change the alkyl chain. Instead of ethyl, now I have attached methyl, and then CH2, CH2 and CH3. So on this side, on the right side, instead of ethyl I have attached a propyl. Okay, so this becomes 1-methoxy. If you remember the IUPAC name, the shorter length chain we have to write it first as a prefix indicating the position of the carbon. So it will be 1-methoxy propane, 1-methoxy propane. Okay, now count the number of carbons, 4 carbons, hydrogens, 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 10, and 1 oxygen. So this is also C4H10O. So what I can say, diethyl ether and 1-methoxypropane, these are the metamers of each other. These are the metamers of each other. Okay, we can take one more example of metamer. Let's say CH3. In ketones we will see now. CH3, C double bond O, dash, dash, dash. Okay, CH2, CH2 here. We can write CH2 and CH2. So you can name this. How many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So it is a pentane. So pentane 2-one. At carbon 2 we have the keto group. Okay, so it is a pentane 2-one or 2-pentanone can also be written. So this I can interconvert into different way. Okay, let's say I am putting this at the center. Let's say this is CH3, CH2 and CH2, CH3. Alright, now count the number of carbons here. Pentane means 5. Then count the number of hydrogens, 3 plus 2, 5 plus 2, 7 and plus 3, 10, and 1 oxygen here. Here also it is C5. Okay, then 3 plus 3, 6 and plus 4, 10. This also becomes C5H10. So this is pentane 3-one or 3-pentanone. Okay, so we can see the possibility of metamers in the ketones. Okay, we have seen in the ethers. It is also possible in the ketones. For example, pentane 2-one and pentane 3-one, they are the metamers of each other. Okay. Okay, all right. Now in amines also the metamers are possible. Only in primary amine, the metamer or metamerism is not possible. Okay, but in case of secondary and tertiary amine, it is possible. For example, now I will draw the structure here. Let's say CH3, then there is a N, then CH3, CH2, CH2 and again CH3. Okay, so how you can give the numbering? The nitrogen should get the least possible number. It will be like this, and methyl will be considered as functionality. Okay, and even this methyl can also be considered as functionality. So it will be it will be considered as substituent. So it will be written as NN dimethyl propanamine. Okay, or can write here dimethyl dash 2 dash propanamine. Okay, NN dimethyl methane, ethane and propane, like that. Okay, now this I can arrange. Now you can count the number of carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This becomes C5. Then hydrogens, 3 plus 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Okay, and 1 nitrogen. So this is an example of tertiary amine, okay, because nitrogen is attached to 3 carbon atoms. Now I can also arrange the same molecular formula in a different way. I can make this as CH2CH3, and here also I can write as CH2-CH3. okay. Now in this case, how many carbons? 1 plus 2 3 4 and 5, C5. Then count the hydrogens. 3 plus 3 6 plus 2 8 plus 2 10 plus 3 13 and 1 nitrogen, C5H13N, C5H13N. okay. So the name of this compound will be N-ethyl, N-ethyl, N-methyl ethanamine. okay, N-ethyl, this one, N-methyl ethanamine. Alright, so I can say this N-dimethyl propanamine and N-ethyl N-methyl ethanamine, these are the metamers of each other. okay, it is also possible in this structure. You can see there is a double bond here, and there is a nitrogen and CH3 here. okay, so what will be the name of this compound? This will be 1-methyl-piperidine. so this is a saturated heterocycle, piperidine 4-O. okay, so because 1 2 3 and 4. now I can arrange the same molecular formula in a different way. so this C double bond O, I can take it at third position. so this is third position. so what will be the name here? It will be 1-methyl-piperidine 3-O. okay, so this structure and this structure, their molecular formula is same, but they differ in the arrangement. okay, so in this case they have been referred as the metamers of each other. okay, now we should remember here the aldehydes, alcohols, acids and primary amines, they cannot show the metamers. okay, so this you should take into consideration. Aldehyde, alcohol, acids and primary amines, they can't show the metamers. alright, now the last type of structural or the constitutional isomer is the tautomer. okay, or they are referred as the tautomerism. okay, tautomerism. so it is an ability of certain chemical compounds to exist as a mixture of two interconvertible isomer in the dynamic equilibrium. They present in the dynamic equilibrium, and it is a mixture of two interconvertible isomer, means one isomer can go into the other isomeric form, and they exist in a dynamic equilibrium. You know the sign of the equilibrium. okay, so let's say one isomer 1 is present here, isomer 2 is present here. so these two are isomers of each other, so they present in a dynamic equilibrium and they are mixture. okay, so we'll see with the example. so tautomers are two constitutional isomers in equilibrium with each other that differ in the location of the hydrogen atom and a double bond relative to a heteroatom. most commonly it will have the oxygen, and in some cases nitrogen, sulfur or phosphorus is also possible. The two most common type of tautomerism is found in ketones. okay, and that is referred as the keto and enol tautomerism. so keto enol tautomerism is very popular, and in examination you will find a definite question on this tautomerism or keto enol tautomerism. so keto enol tautomerism is, in this case it is possible when you have a keto group. so what is required? You require a keto group. now this keto group, this C double bond O, carbonyl carbon, is present in the aldehydes, and this is also present in the ketones. okay, and then what is required? It requires the alpha hydrogen. okay, now what does it mean? let's say if I am writing CH3 C double bond OH. Okay, CH3COOH. Okay, CH3COH, and then I can write CH3C double bond O CH3. So in this case, alpha carbon to this carbonyl carbon is this alpha. Okay, in this case both are alpha carbon. Okay, so here 3 alpha hydrogens are present. This hydrogen is not alpha, this is not alpha. In this case, this hydrogen and this hydrogen both are alpha hydrogen. So there are 6 hydrogens in the ketone, and in this aldehyde there are 3 alpha hydrogens. Okay, so what happens in this keto-enol tautomerism, we can observe here. Now let's say I have a CH3 C double bond O CH3. So this is what, this is a keto form. This is a keto form. Now I can have a isomer possible for this CH3 dash C OH. Okay, then there will be a double bond here, and this will become CH2. Now count the number of carbon atoms here. How many carbons? 3. How many hydrogens? 6, and 1 oxygen. Now in this case, how many carbons? Again 3. How many hydrogens? 3 plus 2 5, and 1 6, and 1 oxygen. Okay, so I can say this structure and this structure, these are the isomers of each other. Okay, now what happens in this case? The alpha hydrogen is rearranged. Okay, so here you can see there is a double bond, C double bond O. So one bond has been broken, and because of that it has rearranged into this fashion. So it becomes alkene here. Okay, so here there was a single bond, now single bond is converted into a double bond. So whenever you have a double bond in the structure, and hydroxy group in the structure, this is referred as the enol. Okay, this is a enol form, and these are the isomers of each other, and they present in a dynamic equilibrium. What does it mean? Let's say in a beaker I have the keto plus enol mixture. Okay, I have the mixture of these two. So these keto enol isomers, which are referred as the tautomers, they are present in an equilibrium amount. Okay, there is always a dynamic equilibrium between these two. So if I reduce the amount of enol form, what will happen? The keto will automatically convert some of its amount into a enol form, and it will attain a dynamic equilibrium. If I reduce the amount of keto form, then what will happen? Immediately the enol will interchange into a keto, and it will maintain its dynamic equilibrium. Okay, so that's why it is referred as the keto-enol tautomerism. Okay, we cannot separate out these two from each other. Even if you separate out, they will try to maintain its dynamic equilibrium. Alright, so this is referred as the 5th type, the keto-enol tautomerism. Okay, so the ketone and its enol form are radially interconvertible structures, and these are the structural isomers where a hydrogen atom and a double bond switch location between a carbon atom and the oxygen atom. Okay, in this keto and enol, the keto form is generally more stable than the enol tautomer. So this is again important from MCQ point of view. Keto form is generally more stable. So there is something in detail to be studied in the tautomerism. Tautomerism itself is a separate topic. You should actually understand the mechanism of this keto-enol tautomerism. But at this moment, we are restricting ourselves only to the understanding the structural or constitutional isomers, what are their types, and which compounds will show the tautomerism or a particular structural isomerism. I can give you one more example of this keto-enol tautomerism. CH3, okay, then C double bond O, then there is a CH, and then again CH3. Okay, so in this case, this is alpha carbon, this is alpha carbon, so these are two alpha hydrogens and these 3 are alpha hydrogens. So 5 alpha hydrogens are possible in this structure. Now in this case, this is which form? This is a keto form, right? This is a keto form. So this will convert into a enol form. Okay, enol form, how you can write? This will not change, it will CH3, then there is, this is getting broken, so double bond will be converted to a single, and then there is a OH. So this bond will rearrange in between these carbon. Okay, so this will be a double bond. Okay, and there are 2 hydrogens, so this one of the hydrogen is rearranged into here, and this one, so this has become a double bond. Okay, so there is one H which is left here, and then CH3. So you can see this is now enol. Why it is enol? Because it contains a hydroxy group as well as it contains a double bond. So whenever you find there is a OH and double bond, this is referred as the enol form. Okay, so these are interconvertibles because enol can go into a keto and keto can go into a enol form, and they will always maintain the dynamic equilibrium with each other. Okay, so that is referred as the keto enol tautomerism. Okay, so hope you have understood the isomers, especially the structural or the constitutional isomers. Thank you for watching this video.